Good evening, folks. Welcome to this edition of Curveball Convos with the Carolina Curveball Boys. Tonight, we have a light-ish show tonight with three of the boys: myself, Kason, Braxton, and Colby. This is Selection Sunday. This is our. This is what would you say you boys are more excited for? This selection show or the NCAA regional selection show?
I'll go out probably the baseball one since none of my teams can't even sniff the selection show.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate this year as I was watching the tournament selection show that the Pirates did not get a bid. I was very hopeful. It did not happen. I know Colby was hopeful for the 49ers. It did not happen. They got snubbed. They were on the first 100 out. So it was very unfortunate. Braxton, how's it going, buddy?
Good, man. I would probably say I'm just gonna go both. I mean, you gotta love the March Madness bracket selection show. I mean, it's just probably one of the best nights of the year. But I mean, obviously, who doesn't love the regional selection show as well? Come May. I mean, we'll obviously be talking about baseball all year, but March is always that busy time where there's some crossover. We get a lot of fans who want to watch basketball, and I get it. But try to watch some baseball too. There's some great baseball going on, and we're gonna dive into it.
Yeah, for sure. I think Bogey's excited for the March Madness selection show. He's having a good old time back there.
He's
Really
excited.
really excited.
He's really excited. The heels got in, as you can
Yeah,
tell.
I can see he's bouncing around enjoying himself. Good.
I guess with baseball though, they kind of lessen the I don't know what I'm trying to say, the excitement because they announce all the regional hosts the night before on Twitter. So I feel like if they didn't do that, it would be even more exciting. But
Yeah, true.
What do y'all think about like a regional kind of aspect for basketball? Would that be no good?
I mean, it's what the women do.
That's
I mean,
that's what made me think of it.
I like the way it is personally.
Yeah.
Colby,
I like
You
all the
don't
neutral
want
site
to fix
games.
what's not broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Colby, what'd you say?
I think the neutral site games just add with the upsets. I feel like if 1 through 4 seed like the women's do it, I don't think they tip. I don't know the statistics, but I don't think they really get upset. And I think if it was like that for the men's, I don't think there'd be nearly as many upsets as we have with it all being on neutral court.
Yeah, for sure. And just like you said, Colby, the excitement does kind of get taken away a little bit because the night before you do know the 1 through 16 seeds. I guess for an example, it does take the excitement away because I remember last year when I covered ECU extremely close. The night before, it got tweeted out ECU was hosting regional, and you kind of knew they were the 16 because of how their season went. So you went in going into that next day knowing you are the 16. But then again, it is interesting because you never know. But I also think that in baseball, it is more regionally based. So like for example, last year, I thought that like High Point would be one of ECU's or Carolinas or states, but they did go to Clemson. I think that was a surprise for all of us, honestly, because I was hoping. I think all three of us selfishly were hoping to have High Point in each of our regionals because we wanted to see our good buddy Adam. But I definitely think they are more regionally based as the NCAA tournament is.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right. They certainly are. I mean, I think that's somewhat of a money thing. Just there's obviously more money in basketball than baseball right now. I would say, just by a
Yeah,
little bit.
Oh yeah.
for sure. And my mom was talking to me how football has game day, basketball has game day. She said that we should start a college baseball game day in a couple years when we get big enough, so we can travel around the country,
That would be
go
sick.
to go to the spots for sure all around the country or in the Carolinas. As we kick off tonight's topic, we can be sure to comment if you're watching, if you have any questions, concerns, your thoughts on the weekend. But we will begin now on the college baseball that was played throughout the Carolinas this weekend. I wouldn't say there were too many upsets this weekend. It was kind of a relaxed weekend. Honestly, it was also St. Patrick's Day, so I know a lot of people were out having fun, enjoying that. Brax, if you want to pull that up, we
Yeah.
can we can go through each series here. quickly. Some talk about more, some talk about less. Yeah, so to start off here, I'm going to begin with Campbell getting a nice series win over UConn. I know UConn this season is not what they have been in years past, but then again, Campbell has not performed well on the weekend. That's just a nice series win for them, Braxton. Going into conference play, I think I think this might have been their last non-conference series of the season.
Yeah, it should be. But yeah, like you said, good. That's a good win for them, especially dropping game one on Friday. For them to be able to kind of bounce back, and I think all parts of their game really showed up on Saturday and Sunday. Wasn't able to watch those games, but it seems like they're starting to get the bats rolling a little bit. And then I think they've had arms all year. They've just kind of waited for them to really step up. I mean, Jake Murray is starting to step up in that rotation, and a couple other arms for them as well. So with their RPI and strength of schedule, this is a team that is still, hoping to be in a regional, when we get to May. And, I think that they can do that if they play their cards right. And they certainly are a bigger name now than maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So good for them to get it done this weekend.
Yeah, really, I'm really looking forward to seeing who they play in the midweek this week because that could be a nice opportunity for them to kind of roll into some momentum as they go into CAA play. The next series I want to talk about is Coastal Carolina picking up a sweep over Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern, a good program. They have some pretty good wins this year, and Coastal Carolina just seems to just be on this roll. I mean, they just score a lot of runs and really been mowing down everyone in their way. I know they did drop a midweek this week to Wake Forest, but they pick it up this weekend with a 3-0 win.
Yeah, they certainly responded well this weekend with a sweep. Like you said, Georgia Southern's a really good program. I mean, on Tuesday, Coastal hosted Wake Forest and lost 16-6, thinking they might lose some juice heading to the weekend, a little discouraged, but they weren't. They took care of business and got the sweep.
And the next one we're going to talk about is UMass versus at Davidson. Davidson got a win to move to 6-12 versus 6-7-1 UMass. UMass somehow does have a tie in there. I guess they were playing at Athens Drive. They ran out of daylight, so they had to
tied like Quinnipiac, I think.
Correct. Yes, they tied Quinnipiac. They were playing at Athens. Had to go in because they have no lights. So shout
out who?
Taylor Webster.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I looked up. Guess who Campbell plays in the midweek?
It's a team instead of Carolinas, right?
Yep.
Carolina.
No, we just talked about them.
Coastal.
They play Coastal at home, and then they have UNCW at home this weekend to open up CAA play.
What a week for them! Holy smokes!
Exciting week.
It's an exciting week for the Camels. I think personally, they will either do great or lose every game. I don't think there will be in between, honestly. As we move on from Davidson and UMass, Colby, we'll kick it to you because I know you made it out to Doak for Virginia Tech at NC State. Just talk about your thoughts on the series this weekend and what you saw from the Pack.
Yeah, I finally got to make it to the Doak first time this year. I went to the second game of the doubleheader on Saturday, so State already had wrapped up won the series, and we're going for the sweep. And it was back and forth the first 4 or 5 innings. State got off to an early lead. Virginia Tech came responding back. State came responding back, and then I think it was a 6th inning. It was tied 6-6, and Virginia Tech scored 14 runs in the 6th inning to go up 20-6, and yeah, the game was over basically. They still got the series win, which is impressive. Starting off 8 ACC play strong, so just flush that last one. I know they're on a long winning streak, so kind of tough, but also you got the series win, so just flush it and move on. I think they play Davidson on Tuesday in Kannapolis, so that'll be a fun one.
Yes, sir. And what are some of your? Were you like? What is like a big takeaway or like a hot take going into this week with NC State that you had? Like, what did you see from any of the guys at the plate this week?
I just think the offense is clicking on all cylinders right now. I think they're probably one of the top offenses right now currently, which is a total 180 of what I was saying 2 or 3 weeks ago when they weren't showing any promise on offense. From 1 through 9, they can all hit. It's exciting, especially when they lost yesterday. I mean, they still put up 8 runs. The bullpen kind of fell apart, but the offense still did damage on a solid Virginia Tech pitching staff the whole weekend.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it. As we move on to Queens versus West Georgia, let's get a round of applause for Queens picking up a nice series win over West Georgia to move to 4-15. Braxton, this is just huge for the Royals, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, West Georgia, I believe, is a team that just became Division One, much like Queens did a couple years ago. So that's a series that we put on the schedule. You'd want to win that, and they got it done. So credit to them and that ball club. I mean, maybe they could start getting it going. I don't know who they play in the A-Sun, but hey,
Yeah.
make us proud. Make us proud in the A-Sun.
Watch out for the Royals. In about a month, they could be knocking on the top 12 door. Watch out, boys. And then I would honestly say one of the most anticipated series of the weekend for us, Charleston Southern at High Point. I would definitely say I thought it would be a lot more competitive than it was. High Point did end up sweeping Charleston Southern. I'm trying to find the first score right now. High Point on Friday won 16-6 over Charleston Southern. And then the game 2, they won. They played a doubleheader on Saturday, correct?
Yeah. They seemed like they were pretty dominant, especially in that first game from what I watched. There was one game where the Bucks were leading at a time, but I think High Point was just a little bit too much for them right now at home, which, we anticipated this to be a good series. I think, it's certainly not panic button yet for Charleston Southern. I mean, you played probably the toughest team in the Big South out of the gates. So, you're still a good team. You're still hot. I don't think it's too much to worry about. Obviously, you're going to get to play them again probably later down the line in the tournament, and that's when it's going to matter more. So,
yeah, there's no doubt about it. So High Point won 16-6 game 1, game 2 they won 6-3, and in the final game they won 8-5. And this team just continues to stack up, just to stack up runs. I know that on Friday, Coney Derschlag went 2 for 2 with a home run, 4 RBIs, 3 runs. I mean, guys, he is on track to be one of the honestly has a chance to win Carolina Curveball Player of the Year.
If the season ended today, I think he probably would be. And also shout out to Wade Walton, who had a very good outing on Friday night. I think he's a freshman. He's been stellar for the Panthers on Friday nights. And I think he had 10 strikeouts in that game. So just wanted to give him a shout out. But yeah, you're certainly right. Connie Derschlag is playing as well as anybody in the country right now. And I think that's a big reason. I think that I think I told you this, Kason, or someone, that 1 through 5 of that High Point lineup is probably one of the best 1 through 5s in the Carolinas right now. I mean, they are just mashing.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I was really looking forward to see what High Point was post Adams Through era, and they are performing better than as we thought for sure.
The next year, Joey Hammond, man, he's running that program, and they're still on the way up. It's pretty incredible.
Would you guys say they're the overwhelming favorite in the Big South right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. As we move on to Dartmouth and College of Charleston, did they only play 2?
Yeah, they got canceled today.
So I see Dartmouth's 0-8 too.
Yeah, looking for their first one.
That hurts.
It's like Texas pretty tight though.
Interesting.
Right?
I could not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe that was their first series, and they played them like a couple run games. But yeah, Charleston Southern taking care of business. I think Jake Brink finally had a really good outing, which is big for them.
College Charleston, but you're good though.
Yeah, sorry, College of Charleston.
Yeah, you're good. Hold on, College of Charleston walked them off on game 1?
Yes.
All right, pals. Yeah. College of Charleston, I think maybe on the bubble for the power rankings. I know that they won 2-0, but walking off an 0-8 team, that is interesting to say the least.
I mean, you do it how you gotta do it,
Yeah. We also talked about the RPI last show too. I mean, playing an 0-8 team that isn't good for RPI, especially for a team like Charleston, who's probably right now fringe on tournament, not in the tournament, but obviously it's March, so not too big
I think
of a
that's
deal.
probably why they didn't really care too much about this game being canceled.
Oh yeah,
100%, no question about it. As we move on to ECU versus William and Mary, ECU put on an absolute clinic at the plate this weekend. I think they scored over 30 runs this weekend. It was absolutely absurd what they did at the plate. They got a bunch of hits from everybody that came to the plate. The pitching was solid. ECU did have a scare yesterday in game 2. They did win 9-8 versus William and Mary. That was a very interesting game. I watched the latter part of that. But then again, this young ECU offense is starting to find its tune. But I want to preface this right now. William and Mary is one of the worst baseball teams that I've watched this season. I know that's harsh saying that live in air, but there were multiple pop flyers where I saw William and Mary infielders do backflips to try to catch it. I will preface that ECU did pick up some nice wins this week, but they did go 5-0, but they did not play the best competition for sure. If you watch the games, you will definitely say, "Oh, okay." It was very interesting for sure. I know I sent the infield pop fly to all of you guys, and Colby, that was something to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was at a restaurant with my brothers watching the Carolina Duke basketball game Friday night, and I was looked at scores and I'm like, oh, ECU looks pretty good tonight. And then Casey sent me that video. It's like I temper the expectations a little bit. It's a funny video.
Yeah, it is some sure, and I feel bad for that kid. I hope he's okay. He did land on his neck. I hope he's fine.
I will say, that's a pretty good sign of a bad team is bad defense. I think that's the number one thing. That and walks.
Yes.
That's where the game of baseball starts. And if you can't pitch it and play defense, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah, for sure. ECU 5-0 this week against ladder competition, but I will say I think this was needed for ECU because I would say they have had a tougher schedule. They've had to play Carolina, and then the Clark, and then the Leclerc Classic, and then they played Coastal Carolina. That is some tough weekends right there. And then this upcoming Tuesday, I will be making the trip down to Fayetteville on Tuesday night for ECU in Wilmington, playing in Segra Stadium, one of a beautiful, beautiful ballpark. If any,
you love that park, huh?
Yeah, this is my 5th time now going. I love that park. Every single time I go, the woodpecker gives me a high five too. So I'm really just going for the pecker, to be honest with you. So that ECU will face a formidable opponent on Tuesday.
Who they got on the weekend?
Excuse me, sir?
Who they got on the weekend for
American Conference play with Memphis?
Oh, Chase Nixon.
Yeah.
Wolfpacker.
Yeah.
His brother's still on. Luke's still on NC State, but Chase transferred to Memphis. I think he's having a really good year to start the year too. So name to watch out for next week.
Who else transferred to Memphis from NC State? Someone else did too.
Oh, there was another one. That wasn't last year's cycle. That was
2 years ago.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Was it Peyton Green?
No, Peyton Green transferred to Georgia Tech.
Who is this? This is going to kill me now.
He's probably still, maybe not.
You'll see him this weekend.
Okay. I don't know if he's still playing college baseball though.
You might not be. I don't know who you're talking about.
I know that there was another player that transferred to Memphis, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyone watching, if you do know, comment for sure. The next series we're going to talk about is another one on the Pick'em. Wofford and Elon. Elon won game 1, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yeah, they came out hot.
This is a solid Elon team with a nice test versus Wofford, and I think it really goes to show that this Wofford team, Braxton, is a solid team.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it because that I think I told y'all they played 2 games at Elon and then 1 at Wofford, and I was surprised when Elon took that first game pretty handily too. I think it's going to be tough for Elon though because if these teams were in opposite conferences, I think Elon would actually have a good shout to win to be a SoCon contender. I don't know about the CAA. I just think that's going to be too tough for them. Look, I hope they prove me wrong because I like this team. I like we have a good following with them. Tough to not take the series when you win game one like that. But I mean, credit to Wofford for taking that game yesterday, and then I was surprised they even got the games in today. But I guess they were able to play because Wofford's a dirt natural field, and Elon's turf. So I was a little bit worried about maybe it not getting played. But
Yeah, and Wofford with a 2-2 week this week. They played College of Charleston during the midweek, lost 9-8. I mean, I guess boys kind of go back on College of Charleston. That's a good win for College of Charleston there with a nice win over Wofford. But yeah, just like Braxton said, this Wofford Terrier team is a good program, and also look out for the Wofford Terriers in the NCAA tournament 2 seed. Watch out.
yeah,
They have a big man that shoots granny free throws too.
Oh,
So
he will.
be on the
He
lookout
will.
for that one.
Yeah,
the granny. Yeah, that's gonna go viral like immediately.
Yeah, he will be a darling this weekend. He will be the spotlight.
He will 100% be in the one shining moment video. Like
Yes.
there's zero doubt. That's minus 1,000.
No doubt about it.
Hopefully he gets to the line, and maybe he doesn't, because they might only be in for one game. Hopefully they beat the Bulls. But
Shout out Fletcher McGee, Wofford legend.
yes,
Wofford legend. And as we move on to Big South play, Presbyterian at Winthrop, Braxton,
yeah,
your guys down there in Winthrop pick up a big series win over Presbyterian to kick off Big South play. I know that Presbyterian last year had a remarkable season, one of the best in program history. Going into this year, a lot of question marks for them as they lose a lot of key pieces. And Winthrop, with first-year head coach McGuire, picks up a nice series win for sure.
yeah, a must needed one too. I mean they were really struggling, and then when they got beat Friday like 18-9 or whatever it was, I was like, oof, but good for them to pick it up and get 2 wins on the weekend. I think that's huge. Like I said, they needed it, especially with the Big South starting out. You don't want to lose your first Big South series, which we'll get to upstate in a second. But you especially at home. And I don't know what's going on with Kobe Croft, but he was not playing the other day. I don't know if he's hurt. I might have to do some research on that, but hopefully he's good. I don't know if maybe he needed a day. I don't know. We will have to look into that, but yeah, Winthrop, big win. They needed it big time.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Hopefully he's doing okay. He is a major piece for that program. To move on, Braxton, to keep it with you here, your alma mater, USC Upstate, dropping a series, getting swept by Radford. Really, I would say really unexpected here, honestly. I mean, Upstate going into this 8-8 at 500, then drops to 8-11 to Radford, who I don't think is very good. I mean, Radford may be better than we think, or is Upstate kind of struggling with first year Kane Sweeney?
Yeah, I think Radford definitely is playing a little better than we thought. Obviously, they're not one of our teams because they're in Virginia, but they were kind of lower bottom of the barrel Big South for the last couple of years. So I'm kind of surprised that they just came in here and swept us. I think Upstate, I don't want to speak for them too much, but they may have been taking it a little bit lightly, just kind of, going into conference play expecting to win, and just got punched in the mouth. And that's what happens, especially in that type of conference. So I look for them to bounce back. Obviously, they got the big win against Stetson during the midweek, but they did split that series. So a 1-4 week is just not going to get it done. And I know, Coach Sweeney's going to have them working hard this week, and I'm not sure who they have next, but I'd be willing to bet that they'll bounce back. I think it's Charleston Southern actually, so that will be a big series next week if that's the case.
Yes, sir, no doubt about it. And last one on this graphic, Western Carolina gets a series win over Eastern Illinois. Don't know much about Eastern Illinois baseball, Colby, do you?
No, but great for the Catamounts to get the series win, and they also held Eastern Illinois to under 10 runs every game in the series. Not big ups. Western Carolina pitching staff this year has been all over the place, but looking at some improvement maybe.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I remember, Cole. I think you texted Friday night saying something about them, about what they did Let me see if I can find the score right
Yeah,
here.
it was they were the first game of the day on Friday. So
Yeah,
Yeah, they played a doubleheader on Friday.
they won the first game 5-3, and then they won the second one. They won the second one 9-2. So a combined 5 runs for Western Carolina. I think that is a program record. Maybe we should look up in the stat book. Only giving up 5 runs. That's pretty impressive by the Catamounts. Braxton, if you want to move on to the next one.
yeah.
Here we go. App State with a nice series sweep over Texas State. Texas State, didn't they beat?
They beat A&M, right?
Yeah, but I think everyone in the country's beat A&M at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Braxton and Colby, if any of you guys want to talk about the Mountaineers as they started off Sunbelt play.
I'm impressed by them, honestly. They've impressed me like every weekend. Like they're beating Gardner-Webb, they're beating Texas State, a good Big South team, or sorry, Sunbelt team. I'm very impressed by
Charlotte this week.
Charlotte in the midweek. Yeah, so they can make some noise in the Sunbelt. We've said it before already. Like the Sunbelt's obviously a tough league, but this Mountaineers team is playing probably as good a ball as anyone right now. It's going to be tough to beat Coastal and Troy and Southern Miss, but I think they're right in the mix there.
Yeah, for sure. Potential team of the week, Braxton?
Yes. Probably going to go with Wake, though. Basically sweeping Miami and destroying Coastal in the midweek is pretty good.
Yes.
I know App is probably right in that mix, too, but we'll have to look.
Yeah.
And the next downpouring, by the way.
Excuse me, bud?
It is downpouring, by the way.
It's pouring there? It's pouring there?
Yeah.
It was pouring at mine earlier, so I don't know if it's pouring. I can't hear it right now. Next one, Kennesaw State and the Citadel. The Citadel, they did not get to finish this series. It was canceled, not postponed. Correct, Braxton?
Yeah, they canceled today, I think.
Okay. This is a nice win for the Citadel. Does anyone know? Does anyone have a Lane Tobin update? What did he do? Does anyone know about Lane Tobin?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
I know that the game they won, I saw the clip of it. They like bunted. They were down like 3-1, and they bunted some guys over. And the pitcher on Kennesaw just throws it away into the outfield. I think like trying to make a play at third, and the left fielder gets the ball and he slips, and they end up tying the game. And then they obviously took the lead and won. But I just wanted to mention that because I saw that. But I did not know if Lane Tobin continued his hot streak or not. But shout out to Lane Tobin.
Yeah, as of now, Lane Tobin's MIA, just like our other Tobin is. He spent too fun of a day yesterday and could not make it on. So is what it is, but we'll see. Next series, Clemson gets a nice series win over Notre Dame. Colby, this Notre Dame team, they lost. Who did they get? They got swept by Wake Forest last week and then lose to Clemson this week. So they're starting off. What is that? 1-5 in ACC play. So really unsure about this Notre Dame team, Colby. But this Clemson team just continues to rack up wins. They're 19-2 at number 10 in the country. I don't know if D1 Baseball will move them up, though, because there's an ACC logo on their chest, not a SEC one. So really unsure what they do there, Colby.
Yeah, Clemson looks like a juggernaut. I think they have all year. Went for the sweep today and lost. I think it was – I can't remember what the score was today, but dropped the game for the sweep. But impressive series win. Notre Dame's a solid program. They were really good when Link Jarrett was there before he went down to Florida State, his alma mater. So they're still kind of not rebuilding, but kind of reloading since he left two or 3 years ago. I still think it's a solid team. So good series win for Clemson for sure.
Yeah. They're going to be a force in the ACC, no doubt about it. And just like you said, Notre Dame is building after the exit of Jarrett. Next series, Asheville gets a series win over Gardner-Webb. I'm honestly kind of shocked by this. Asheville has not been the best this season. I got to see Gardner-Webb play in person this year when they played ECU, and they took it to ECU in the midweek. Gardner-Webb also played outstanding versus App State. Did they win the series over App State?
No,
they did not.
Yeah,
but they stole a game from them, though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just really kind of shocking here, especially at Gardner-Webb. Not really Curious what Dale Francis did. I need to look at the box score for that. But yeah, Braxton, do you have any comments on this game, this series?
No, it's just kind of a middle of the pack Big South team matchup. I mean, look, I think these teams are certainly on the outside looking in right now in the Big South, and that's just because it's been so good at the top with High Point. I mean, obviously Upstate took a step back this weekend, but then you've got Winthrop, Presbyterian, Charleston Southern. So I think these two Big South teams that are obviously Carolina's teams are kind of forgotten about a little bit. I could see one of them maybe like sneaking into the Big South tournament and maybe making some noise. But yeah, I mean, I expected this series to probably go to a rubber match, which it did, and you know, credit to Asheville for getting the win on the road. It's hard to win on the road in the Big South, or that goes for anywhere. But I didn't watch. I don't even know if this was televised, but yeah, I haven't even looked at the box scores either. So I'm sure Dale Francis probably homered or hit a double at least once. So
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And the next one, North Carolina A&T at UNCG. UNCG is up 2-0 in the series. This will conclude tomorrow at 4:00. Was this postponed to Monday? Was this moved or was this scheduled?
no, it was already scheduled for Monday. I think they anticipated the rain, so they were just like, "We'll play on Monday," and they may not have a midweek too, so that might be the reason.
Okay. Well, UNCG with a nice 2-0 series win over NC A&T. Don't really have much to say on NC A&T. They are 3-13 to start the year. Kind of unfortunate for them. Yeah, not really much to say on that series. We'll move on to UNC Wilmington versus Charlotte. A nice series win for UNC Wilmington over a solid Charlotte team. I think this was a very highly anticipated one. Colby, this Charlotte program drops to 500 now. What are your thoughts and takeaways from this series and looking forward to as they go into American Conference play?
I'm actually encouraged, even they lost the series. All three games were back and forth. Charlotte got off to an early lead in the first game. Wilmington came back and won. Wilmington got off big lead or a little lead in the second game. Charlotte came back and won. And then the rubber match on Saturday afternoon was back and forth as well. I think Charlotte's a pretty good team, and I think they'll be one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the American. I think they'll certainly contend. Wilmington's a good team, and you go in there and you compete all 3 games. The series could have gone either way. I'm pretty high on Charlotte and Wilmington. I think this was the good hard-fought series for both teams.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Will the Seahawks make their way back into the rankings this week, Braxton?
I think they could. I think potentially you could see them coming in with maybe Charleston Southern harshly a bit going out. Just because, I mean, look, the Seahawks RPI is up there. I think we need to kind of give them some more respect. And, they won. Did they play midweek this week? I can't even remember.
Wilmington?
Yeah.
They played Carolina.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they had a tough week in terms of opponents, but, credit to them for winning that Charlotte series. I know it was a good game. I was surprised to see Charlotte take that second game, honestly. But credit to them. That's a good win on the road for them as well. Like Colby says, I think they're going to be dangerous in the American. You look at Gillespie, what he's been doing. I think their offense is starting to roll around a little bit with Thad Ector, and Cody Gunderson had a tremendous week, I believe, as well for them. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think the Seahawks are good enough to be ranked. I think Charlotte's still kind of right on that bubble for me. I want them to be in the top 12. Like, I want the Charlotte program to make that jump. And I think they could. It's just a matter of how they start in the American.
Yeah, and to your point, I definitely think the 49ers will be in the rankings as they get into AAC play. Don't you agree, Colby?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As AAC play begins coming up, really looking forward to seeing what the AAC does this year. I know that ECU normally at the top there. Wichita State in years past has been right up there. Wichita State seems to look kind of down this year. UTSA looks up. South Florida looks up. Rice just fired their head coach on Tuesday. So, yes, it's pretty insane to happen this early. So
Seems like there might be more to the story for mid-season firing in March.
That's insane.
It's very strange for sure. And just like you said, Charlotte looking to look up top there of the AAC. And as we move on to Oklahoma and South Carolina. South Carolina faced a tough opponent in the Sooners, and they did drop this series 2-1. I did not get a chance to watch this series. Braxton, what's your take on this series as the Gamecocks drop another series to another solid program?
Yeah, I'm starting to think I'm starting to think South Carolina is going to have it tough. I mean, obviously, their schedule is going to be brutal. I mean, you're playing in the SEC, but I mean, Oklahoma is obviously a very, very talented, probably regional host level team. Um, so you don't want to hang your head too low losing a series to them. But I think there are some flags for South Carolina, like we've already mentioned. I mean, they have an offense issue. I think they did make the rotation switch, which didn't really work out for them yet, but I think it is probably the right move. They've been getting good starts out of McCoy all year, but against not great teams. I mean, I'm interested to see how he does in the SEC. But again, I think they're better than the 14th that they were tabbed, but I'm not too sure how much better right now. I think they can be. I think they still need to find their best 9. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's like Mainieri's and South Carolina fans. Like, you can let me know this, or I guess LSU fans. Does Mainieri like just rotate his team every weekend? I don't know if he like wants to get guys looks early in the year, which like we're starting conference play now. Like, you probably want to have that go-to lineup that you want to put out there every day. But when you're relying a lot on Petrie and Hall right now, and I think you need someone else to just step up in that lineup to get some quality at bats and some quality starts on the mound too. So, look, it's going to be tough all year. I mean, did one of y'all predicted them to host, I think, or make Omaha maybe? Like, I just don't see it right now. Like
That was me.
hey, look, like I love it. I would love to see that Mainieri and the Gamecocks back in Omaha, but I just don't know if they're good enough.
Yeah, I just want to add something. I mean, went to the rubber match today, and I think South Carolina should have won this series. They're up 5-3 in the ninth, and then they gave up 2 runs in the ninth, and then Oklahoma ended up winning in the 10th, scoring 1 in the top of the 10th, and South Carolina couldn't. Was 30 runs over in the 10th. So if you look at it, it's very disappointing because that's a series you should have won. You're up by 2 runs heading into the 9th inning. It is a solid team, so I could be some encouragement momentum, but definitely it stinks losing a rubber match 2-run lead in the 9th.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it could have easily gone the other way, and we'd be sitting here talking about South Carolina's back. So it's a good point because I did see that game today went to extras.
Yeah, there's no question about it. But then if you look at their season as a whole, kind of like a blind resume, sort of, you look at the two at their losses this year, Clemson and Oklahoma. Everyone else that they've played has not been, I would say, the best competition. And you could say that when they do play, granted, Oklahoma and Clemson are top 15, maybe top 10 programs now. They have lost to them, and it's not going to get any easier going forward, as Braxton said, going into the SEC. This is what you're going to see every single weekend. I don't think there's a down weekend in the SEC. I guess you could say when you play Missouri, you can maybe pick up a couple, but outside of that, there's no one in the SEC where you can kind of roll into say, yeah, I think we can win this one, relax. So as Braxton said, it's not going to get any easier for the Gamecocks for sure. As we go into the next series, Wake Forest gets a sweep over Miami. Wake Forest is now 14, number 14 in the country at 18-3. They also beat Coastal Carolina this week on the road. They are 4-0 on the week, and Braxton trending towards team of the week. And is Clemson one of the best teams in the country right now? Wake. Sorry, excuse me.
Wake is definitely trending in the right direction. Obviously, they're winning games. They had a couple tough, bad losses, I would say, early in the year with Princeton and UNCG. But, I mean, they're starting to look – like, this is what I mean. Like, they have a lineup that they have a 9. Like, like they know their guys, Ethan Conrad, Cade Lewis, Merrick Houston, obviously. And what they've been doing on the mound is just as impressive. I mean, Logan Lunsford has been borderline pitcher of the year so far. He kind of runs into some deep counts, but he gets 8 to 10 strikeouts to start, and he'll give you 5-6 innings, and he's going to give you a good chance to win every Friday. And I think he shut out Miami on Friday. So I didn't know much about the Miami team coming in. Obviously, I think we talked about it in the preview, but we knew they lost to Florida in that in-state series. But I expected to give them Wake a little bit more trouble. I think one of the games was close, or maybe two of them. But
yeah, Wake had to walk off one of them.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, Wake is really hot right now. I think they will move up in our rankings this week, probably passing the Heels, who we'll talk about here in a second. But look, and I want to make this point too. The ACC is just up right now too. Like when you look at Wake, obviously Carolina, what they started out doing, Clemson, Stanford is looking really good. Louisville really impressed me this weekend as well in their series against Carolina. And then you've obviously got the Dukes, who am I missing? Florida State, of course, who's still really red hot to start the year. I mean, I expect this ACC team to have multiple regional hosts, and that's what we love to see, honestly.
Yeah, and to piggyback, talking about Wake Forest on Friday, Merrick Houston, Jack Winay, and Dalton Wentz all home run on Friday. Just shows how good their offense is. Colby, just to piggyback Braxton, this Wake Forest team is for real. I know that going into the season this year, there were a lot of question marks, but you talked about it in our first ever show that Tom Walter said this is one of the best teams he's ever coached. And then when he said that, he got some, I wouldn't say backlash, but people were kind of like, okay, well, look at last year's team, Tom. I mean, you had honestly one of the best lineups in the country last year. You had Chase Burns. How can you say his team is better? But at this time last year, Wake Forest was trending in the opposite direction as they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, when Tom Walter said that preseason, you're like thinking it's impossible. There's no way they're a better team, but they might not be as talented as last year. But I think they are a better team than they were last year. They fit together better. The lineup is raking, and it's a fun team to watch. Like Braxton said, I think they'll definitely be moving up in the power rankings. So be interesting to see when they come out tomorrow.
Yeah, they are a threat in the ACC, no doubt about it.
6-0.
Yes. And to keep it in the ACC, a newcomer to the ACC, Stanford, they are a threat to the ACC. Also, Duke makes the cross-country trip to Stanford, which is a very tough trip. They do get swept by Stanford. I will say that it's very hard to travel across the country. I mean, I think that plays a factor in series, especially for college baseball, having to do that. But Braxton, Stanford picking up a sweep over Duke is very, very impressive. And this Duke team, once again, I guess this is the Duke team we've seen a couple times this year, and we've seen more of this Duke team than the team that we saw versus some good programs. But do you think it's more Duke is up and down, or Stanford is for real?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think you make like the jet lag definitely played a factor. I mean, hopping on a flight on Thursday, going across the country, getting out on Friday, playing against a very good ball club in Stanford at 9 p.m. Eastern for them. That definitely played a part. But I do think Stanford is legit. I mean, they've started 5-1 against Carolina and Duke in the ACC. Like that is very impressive. I don't think any of us expected that. Even with the hot start they had, in non-conference play. But Duke and Carolina both sitting at 2-4 to start out ACC play. And this just goes to my point. Like, I think the ACC is even deeper than we originally may have thought. Like, when you've got like Louisville looks like they could be probably ranked this week. I mean, they look phenomenal. Stanford is ranked after they beat Carolina at Carolina, and they will keep moving up. So I'm just really impressed by these ACC teams that are beating some blue blood type programs in Carolina and Duke. So again, it's a little bit of both. I think Duke is very much roller coaster this year. I think they're going to keep being that way. And when it comes down to it, I could see them kind of being almost a bubble type team for regional play. And I hate saying that because I want Duke in a regional. Last year I wanted them to host. They were good enough to host, and they just kind of, I think they were a 2 seed. But yeah, I mean, look. It is kind of like the SEC. It's not going to get any easier for these ACC teams playing week in and week out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Colby, they do still have Ben Miller. They do still have guys on this team. So we're not hitting the panic button. We're not hitting the panic button on Duke, right, Colby?
Not full panic button, maybe a middle panic button if we can invent one of those.
We're hitting the ride the roller coaster button right now.
Yeah,
because that's what's going to be.
Do we know who we have in the? Do we know who they have in the midweek? I'm very curious on who.
I can check for you.
Yeah, check real quick on Duke in the midweek. They played. Who they played last week in the midweek? They played George Mason. Got a win over George Mason.
Two wins over George Mason
twice. They won 6-3 each game. Very strange. Very like scoregami-ish.
They play. Let's see.
UConn.
They play UConn midweek. Yeah, that's right.
At Virginia next weekend.
Who is it?
At Virginia on the weekend.
Ooh.
But also that Virginia team coming in preseason number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
They're up and down as well. So
yeah, they've had a very roller coaster. Wait, are they playing at Virginia?
Yeah,
yes.
That's tough. Stanford
tough to win there.
Well, they come home. They're playing UConn at home like literally tomorrow or Tuesday. So like they'll probably fly back tomorrow. Which, by the way, they were winning today. I thought Duke was going to get a win today. I think they were up like 5-1 or 5-0, and just couldn't hang on. So credit to Stanford again.
Yeah, and we will wrap up the series right now with Braxton talking about the Heels going down, making the trip west to Louisville. I know this is a very impressive Louisville team. I think that this shocked a lot of people around the country. But then again, Louisville is a good baseball program, and I definitely think they are trending upward. But Braxton, what kind of went wrong for the Heels this weekend, man?
Yeah, there's a couple of worries. I think offensively, you're worrying a little bit, especially getting shut out today, in a nationally televised rubber match. But like you said, Louisville's looked really good, especially on that side of the ball. They're pitching it really well. I mean, their starter on Friday night, I think I sent it to you guys. He came out pumping like 98, 99. Like fuel, and he ended up started walking guys a little bit, but his boys picked him up and they won a close ball game for that Friday game, which was ultimately very important because Carolina did come back and win that second game. But yeah, I mean, today, like I think the worries for Carolina right now is their defense. I think they've been making too many errors, especially this weekend, which is very unlike a Carolina team, especially on a turf field like that. I think they do play better defense at their home park in general. I think most teams do, but I think that is a bit of a worry, and I don't want it to continue to be a worry because that they've always thrived on pitching and defense at Carolina, as most good teams do, as I mentioned earlier in the pod. But I'm not really panicking on them. Obviously, they're 2-4 in the ACC. That's not the start you would have wanted, but you certainly can get a couple series wins here in the next few weeks, and hopefully start switching that up and projecting in the right right way, but. I am definitely a little bit worried about how they look this weekend. I know it's on the road. It's tough to win on the road, but again, I'm impressed by Louisville and these ACC teams, as I've continued to say. So,
yeah, I think it was Reed Tobin that said the something about the ACC in his bold predictions, maybe a ACC national champion.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, and just looking around slate this week, and just really shows how deep the ACC is. Yeah, and that'll do it for our weekend recap, so to speak. Actually, if you want to pull up the power rankings, we can kind of discuss some movement here on what we think is going to happen. I'm very curious to see on where some of these teams are going to stack up this week. I know that Charleston Southern, I don't think – did they get a win this week? Did they win their midweek?
No. Yes, they did. Sorry, they did.
Okay. But they got swept by High Point. High Point will probably move up. Wofford got a nice series win. NC State with a series win. I think they're due to trend up. ECU 5-0. They are probably due to move up. College of Charleston. Very curious what happens with them. And Colby, what do you think about Coastal Carolina? Where do you have them, and do you have them above? I would say, do we have Carolina dropping to 4 or 3 and moving Wake up?
Yeah, I was thinking Wake would probably slot into the 2 spot. That's what my initial thinking was.
Yeah.
And
I'm
what
not. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and where do you think South Carolina falls?
I could see an argument where State should be above South Carolina, if I'm being totally honest. Like you mentioned earlier, South Carolina's record against good teams isn't good. What is it, 1-5 now? With
Yes.
1 win over Oklahoma, 5 losses, with the sweep against Clemson and the 2 losses this weekend to Oklahoma. I think Duke should undoubtedly drop too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll put. I don't know. Coastal versus North Carolina for the 3rd spot. That'll be tough, but I think I'll probably lean the Heels. I'm not totally positive though.
I mean, they have the head-to-head on them, but Coastal did have a very good week, obviously sweeping Georgia Southern, so you could argue that.
Yeah.
That's close. I would agree. I think it's going to be Clemson, Wake, Carolina, Coastal, whichever way. Then you probably have an argument between State and South Carolina for the 5, and then you got to figure out how much High Point will move up, how much Wofford will move up, and then how much Duke will move down. So maybe ECU could hop in that top 8 as well. So it all depends on what everyone thinks. But
yeah, and looking on the outside right now is UNC Wilmington. I think they are primed to maybe get back in the top 12 with the loss from Charleston Southern, and also it's going to be very interesting towards the back end there because there were some losses this weekend. I'm definitely curious to see where High Point is coming up tomorrow because they had a pretty nice week this week.
They did lose in the midweek to Greensboro though.
True.
But
yes.
They did obviously have a big weekend sweeping. Probably one of the better Big South opponents.
Yeah, for sure. And be on the lookout for those rankings tomorrow at 12 p.m. They are going to be hot. I think these have potential to make a lot of noise because of the implications that are going to occur for sure. Boys, any other last weekend comments on the college baseball this weekend?
I'm trying to think of like something from the national perspective because I obviously Saturday we were out and stuff, but watching a lot of basketball as well this weekend. But did anyone see what happened in the Tennessee-Florida series? Who won that?
Tennessee swept. They're 20-0, I believe.
That's right. Okay, I knew they won yesterday. I wasn't sure about today. They played.
Another national storyline is A&M preseason #1. Everyone had him #1 is now going to be unranked tomorrow. Is what it sounds like according to the D1 guys. So
yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. I would not have expected that a month into the season. I think they'll figure it out, but I mean, we keep saying that, and again, they're in the SEC. Like, it's not easy, and I think that. If I was able to change my SEC pick today, I probably would take that opportunity, and I would probably pick Tennessee. I think they're just too good right now. They're quite literally like the lone best team in the country, I would say right now.
Yeah, and I was just looking at LSU's schedule because they swept this weekend versus Missouri. They come up and they play Mississippi State next week. Because I know the reason I looked them up is because every single time I look at the D1 baseball rankings when Tennessee's #1, every single comment is a LSU fan saying, "Why are we not #1?"
Thank God we don't have to power rank them. That's all I'm going to say.
It could be for better or worse. And back to Texas A&M, like you guys said, they did get swept by Alabama. They did beat Prairie View A&M this week 14-0 in 7 innings, so that's positive. They did lose to New Mexico State this week at home. No, they lost this game to them on Sunday, but they've been losing to everybody. Holy cow. Yeah, this is actually remarkable now that I look at it. I'm trying to think. Are there any other major storylines from across the country that you guys think of?
Parker Bird.
Yeah, shout out Parker Bird. Just what an absolutely outstanding story. Just really absolutely remarkable. I'll never forget the day when I found out about that. Just I remember getting a call from a friend of his family saying what happened, and honestly, just absolute unbelievable story. Just really shows that the only disability in life is a bad attitude, and just if you really put your mind on anything, you can get anything done. And very, 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 very happy for him. a big week, has his first RBI and then first hit for sure. Um, Braxton, as your pops makes the first comment of the show, picks updated.
Oh,
Let's look at
yeah, we
those right
actually
now.
do.
Doing it right now.
Yeah, are you doing them, Colby? Perfect.
Yeah, trying my best.
You just read off the records once you get them in there, because we should probably address.
So while Colby's doing that, I'll do a recap of what the series
I didn't
were.
know Money had an undefeated week, so
You're lying.
I'm not lying. I wish
You're
I
lying.
was. He went 5-0.
He's the worst if you're watching that. So the
But we
so
still
the
don't have
series
Money. So.
we still don't have
Or
money
Money's
lost.
lost. Sorry.
Really just goes to show. Our series were Elon versus Wofford, Charleston Southern at High Point, Charlotte at UNC Wilmington, North Carolina at Louisville, and to wrap it up, Miami at Wake Forest. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of green for the boys on the outside, a lot of red for me and Colby, as Colby's doing this on the sheet. I'm watching him right now. Only 3 of us picked College of Charleston Southern, excuse me. Lord have mercy. Myself, Colby, and is that James Malice, the technician, picked Charleston Southern. We all picked Wofford to be Elon.
Yeah.
So Braxton, Matt, and Reed pick up wins there. Me and Colby only ones to pick Charlotte. Also, myself, Colby, and Matt Money picked Louisville. I'm the lone one to pick Miami. Don't know why I did that, to be honest with you. I guess I was just trying to just gain a spot there. So to update the pick'ems, Colby, if you want to read out those records, or Braxton, when you guys got them, I see someone typing in there.
I'm putting them in right now.
So on the week, Braxton went 4-1, Kaysen went 2-3, Colby went 3-2, Money went 5-0 somehow. Tech went 3-2, and Tobin went 4-1. So myself with the worst week. Braxton, if you want to read off those overall records.
Yeah. So right now, Tobin remains in first at 16-7. He's tied for first with Matt at 16-7. I am the lone in second at 15-8, so 1 game back. And then you've got Kaysen at 13-10, Colby at 12-11, and Tech 9-14.
I don't know what the Tech's doing. He's not teching it up over there, but he's going to be trying his best.
Above 500. Last week was exactly 500.
How did y'all do on your guys' picks this week?
We went 3-3, but one of the series that 11.7 had turned out just to be a 1-game series. So I don't know if they're counting that.
Are you still in the Survivor, or are you out of that?
No, we lost the second week in Survivor.
Hey, you've always got basketball Survivor coming up. So.
Yeah. Are we going to any sporting events this week?
I'm gonna try to make my way over to Lenovo.
Me too. Colby?
Yeah, probably not.
Go to the Doak again. Or no, they're away, aren't they?
Yeah, we're at Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah.
Any baseball this week, fellas?
I think it's a possibility. I mean, if it's good weather, sign me up.
No doubt about it. And as we wrap up here, I'm just looking at the bracket right now. Can we talk about the?
Yeah, let's have a little segment.
Let's have a little segment here as I have it pulled up. I'm trying to find why are they not? I can't
find the bracket.
Where is the West? Okay, yeah. I want to talk about the West Conference, the West region here. Florida, UConn, Memphis, Maryland, Texas Tech, Wilmington, Kansas, Arkansas, and St. John's. I mean, what in the world? I mean, that is ridiculous.
I think the South is very, very loaded too.
Yes.
When you look at Auburn, Michigan, A&M, Iowa State is in there. Can't remember the 2. But, yeah. I mean, look, it's March. Like, you're going to have – I can't believe there's 14 SEC teams. That is just insane.
Yeah, only 2 teams from the conference missed it.
Yeah,
South Carolina and
LSU.
Yeah, that's
I will say it right now. An SEC program will not win a national championship.
I will agree. I will agree.
I think this is the year they get it done.
You think who?
I think this is the year that conference will get it done.
I have a trivia
Who
question.
though? Auburn?
If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Florida. I think Auburn's lost 3 of their last 4.
Yes.
Kind of limping in a little bit. Johnny Broome, a little bit of a character.
Who is the last? When was the last year SEC team won the national championship? I know.
You know
Was
better
it
than
Florida?
me.
Was it Florida?
Yeah.
Nope.
It was after Florida.
Yep. It was in
Oh, it must have been Kentucky. Anthony Davis.
2012.
Kentucky, yeah.
Yep. Colby, you got a lock upset for someone? For the people?
Can you pull up the bracket? I do not know the bracket too
Give
well.
me High Point.
High Point over Purdue. I
can pull it up.
Give me High Point over Purdue.
I have Texas Tech dropping to UNC Wilmington. Guaranteed.
Okay, so there we go. Carolina's teams getting the upsets.
That's,
Put a parlay. Go ahead and we'll ride this together. Wilmington, Wofford, and High Point.
Wofford, I can't get on board with High Point.
Okay, Wofford. We'll do Wilmington. We'll do Wilmington High.
I can't get on board with Wofford.
All right,
we'll do Wilmington and High Point. We'll do one on the spread and one on money.
Actually, Tennessee. Actually, they're playing Tennessee. Rick Barnes never sniffed the Elite Eight, so I might pick that.
Okay.
I'll go Colorado State.
But they're favored.
You didn't have to bring that up.
Not even an upset.
I could see VCU beating BYU.
That's also.
But what is that? But what is that line? I'm curious for that VCU line.
I haven't looked at that one yet. Drake and Missouri is a great matchup too. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Braxton, as your pop says, Florida and Duke playing best basketball. I would definitely agree. I would say Florida's playing the best. I think Florida is could beat a
known Duke basketball fan. So
what about UC San Diego beating Michigan? I think I like that one.
Yeah,
they just won the Big Ten, though.
Yeah.
I think San Diego might win that one.
Well, now, can we? I mean, I think Louisville getting an 8 seed is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Is that just absurd? I mean, it just really enraged me when I saw Louisville. It was the first one. I saw Louisville get an 8 and saw Ole Miss get a 6. I was like, come on. I know that I haven't been as plugged in with the SEC because, to be honest, I can't stand the SEC bias. I mean, I'll just let that known for the 300 people watching. I cannot stand the SEC bias, but Louisville getting an 8 seed, I was like, are you kidding me right now? But I will say Louisville will beat Auburn if they play.
You think so?
I actually have an interesting stat from Louisville being so outrageously seeded. So since 2012, the AP number 13 team entering Selection Sunday, which that's Louisville this year, they're number 13 in the AP poll. There hasn't been one that was seeded higher than a 5 seed. They've all been around 3, 4, and there's 1 5 seed Purdue in 2016, and then today 8 seed Louisville, which is crazy.
I was surprised that they were an 8. I would probably agree with Cation. I think 6 would be more.
I was thinking 6.
Yeah.
Because how can you have? I mean, Clemson's what, a 5?
Yeah.
Hold on.
There's 4 ACC teams. 4.
Wade.
Yeah, we need to talk about this Clemson McNeese matchup. McNeese Will Wade facing his alma mater in Clemson. So very curious how that one's going to shake up for sure. Isn't that right, Colby?
I'm cheering for Clemson.
Why, you want him to get to state as soon as possible? Or what?
Yes, correct.
Could we see McNeese High Point for a trip to the Sweet 16?
I sure hope not. I mean, I'm good with High Point winning. Not
Colby.
I would love it.
Braxton, your thoughts on Carolina getting in over West Virginia?
I love it.
I respect it.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers right now. Look, we're getting a shot. We have to play on Tuesday night, so that's where my focus is. I'm not looking ahead. Obviously, every game's going to be tough in this tournament, especially when you're an 11 seed. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy. I feel fortunate that we're able to keep playing basketball, and I'm able to watch RJ Davis play another game. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah, you play Tuesday at 10 p.m. Lord have mercy.
I will be watching after all the midweeks wrap up. I will be turning that sucker on and cheering on the Heels.
Just a little hope for the Heels. There was a 11 seed, can't remember who it was, that did make the Final Four last year.
Yep.
I knew who
Yep.
was.
Little hope.
That was a good Kobe. That was a good pull.
Yeah. You know what? That fires me up because now I really am going to believe. So thank you for that.
And there was a stat where I think the last 4 years, 11 seeds made the Sweet 16.
So
I would be happy with the Sweet 16. I do feel like we could make a run like that, but I feel like our luck will run out at some point. Kind of how States did, but I mean that's Final Four. You got to be happy with that.
And I will say a 1 or a 2 will fall the first weekend. One of the
love
other.
it because did you see the ESPN panel? They put all ones in their Final Four, all ones and twos in their lead. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
I watched Jay Willis because I was sitting on the couch. Jay Willis, Elite Eight. Everyone was 1, 2.
Jay Williams or Jay Willis?
1 and 2.
Are you combining Jay Williams and Jay Willis?
Yeah, who are you talking about?
Jay Willis.
It was Jay Willis. Oh my God, I said Jay Willis. I meant Jay Willis. Lord have mercy.
All right. No, yeah, but that's crazy talk. That like, when does that ever happen? But I mean, look, I always say like maybe this year, but it's March, bro. Like something crazy is gonna happen, and I'm honestly thinking about doing this, boys. I think I'm gonna bet on every underdog this year. I think this is the year.
On everyone.
What?
What are you gonna do? Throw a buck on everyone?
I'm either that or like 5. Yeah, just something like not too, too crazy on the bankroll. Just like have some fun with it. Cheer for upsets. Why not?
Yeah, I know. Last year I was talking to Colby. I don't know if you were on yet, Braxton, but last year was perfect because last year this time the sports book became legal, so you got all this free play. So I put everything out of my free play on underdogs. Yale, cha-ching. Oakland, cha-ching. Pack.
All it takes, bro, is a couple of those big ones, like the plus 1,000, the plus 2,000, and you're cooking.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
So, anyways,
all right, boys. It is very, very late tonight. We are at 1 hour and 7 minutes, and going into the show pre-show, we were saying, yeah, we don't have to go that long tonight. Look at us having our longest show for sure. If you're still
watching into the Players Championship,
yes,
tomorrow.
Yes.
It's been a fantastic tournament. We got Rory McIlroy and JJ Spawn for
we were so close to not bringing up golf. So close. And Tobin's not even on tonight.
Yep.
I'm filling in for him.
Yep. Also, be sure to tune into the Cup Series. I think it's still going on right now. The NASCAR race still going on.
All right, I'm heading out.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank everyone, guys and gals. If you're still watching, thank you for watching. If you're still listening, wow, thank you for watching. As Braxton really left, we were talking about NASCAR. Braxton, don't go anywhere. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're still listening, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for following us on Twitter /X/Instagram. Follow us on Spotify. Join our Discord. Don't forget to join all those. Our links are in our bio. For sure, do not forget to do all those things. And folks, we will see you on Thursday night as we recap the midweek and preview the weekend.